Hello, good people of YouTube, Mountbatten here, and today we're going to be going over what I am calling my new player's premium ship buying guide. And these are premium ships that, if you are a new player, I would suggest you get. However, if you are a new player, I would not suggest you get any premium ship until you have grinded up to that point in the tech line. Meaning that don't go off and buy a tier 8 or a tier 9 premium ship until you yourself get to tier 8 or tier 9 in whatever line it is that you are grinding. There's a big learning curve as you go up the tech tree. There's a whole lot more to the game than meets the eye. And I made that mistake way back when I first started playing the game. I bought the Turpits right out the gate. Because, well, it's the Turpits, and boy, I had no idea what I was doing at tier 8, and I parked that thing and didn't touch it again until I think I was actually almost done grinding the German tech line. So yeah, buy these ships if you are already at this point in the tech line. Now, am I saying that you have to buy these ships? No. I'm saying that these are some very, very, very new player-friendly premium ships that will go a very long way in their nations that they are based in, and they're a pretty solid investment. I've had all these ships for quite some time. I've played a lot in all of these ships, and they're a blast to play, and they do their job quite well. So before we get into the ships themselves, what is a premium ship supposed to do? So in World of Warships, a premium ship is supposed to fulfill one of three roles, or ideally all three roles. One is supposed to grind out credits for you. Premium ships have a naturally boosted economy, like we talked about yesterday with the Missouri. On top of that, they also have a premium camo, which boosts their earnings a little bit more too. Then they are supposed to help you train commanders. It does not cost anything to move commanders on premium ships. So that way, let's say you can buy something like the Turpits. You can train your German battleship commander there, and then just move them off to whatever ship that you would like. And then finally, they are supposed to help you grind free XP. Free XP can, of course, be used on anything in the game that requires XP. So, ship modules, ships, commander skills, etc., etc., etc. And finally, they're supposed to be fun in my mind. Well, any ship in this game is supposed to be fun to play. Some are much better at it than others. So, that being said, the tiers where you are best suited to fulfill this role, in my mind at least, are three tiers. Tier 6, Tier 8, and Tier 9. Tier 6 right now because with the way Matchmaker is set right now, Tier 6 ships are top tier more often than not. And when you do get up tiered in Tier 6 to a Tier 8 game, so double up tiering, that is a pretty okay-ish up tier for being double up tiered. There's some pretty rough double up tiers, like if you're a Tier 4 to Tier 6 game, that's freaking rough. Tier 7 to Tier 9 is absolutely just pain. And Tier 8 to Tier 10 isn't that bad either, that's why it's on here as well. Now, when you do get double up tiered, you're getting a boost from doing damage to ships that are tiers higher than you. In the game, when you are up tiered, you receive a 1.25% boost when you're one tier up, a 1.50% boost when you are two tiers up, not percent, but 1.50 times boost when you're two tiers up, and then a 1.75 boost when you are three tiers up. And I guess there might be a fourth tier there, if that's even possible anymore. I don't think it is. But anyway, and then finally Tier 9, because Tier 9 ships are going to be in Tier 10 games 99% of the time, and by the time you get to Tier 9, we've got some really sweet ships at Tier 9 that do their jobs fantastically well. So the basis that I'm going off for this video. Also, premium ships. Realistically, the average person, I think, really only needs one or two premium ships. If you even want to buy them at all, you don't have to. They're definitely not needed to make the game go. You don't need them all. You can play this game without ever buying one. But it's not a bad idea to pick one up along the way, especially if you have a favorite nation that you like to play. It's a good idea to pick one up for commander training and for grinding at XP and stuff. And there's plenty of ships that do that just fine. These are three ships that I think a new player would be quite comfortable in and fulfills their role very well and would go quite a way. So let's go ahead and get started with the Tier 6. which is the Mutsu. I won't go too deep into the Mutsu because I made a video pretty much talking about just the Mutsu last week when I was talking about how tier 6 is kind of the new golden tier, because like I just said, you're going to be top tier most of the time, and the Mutsu is a blast to play. She has 8 16-inch guns. She also has really good secondaries, especially for a Japanese battleship. You can get them out to about 7.6 kilometers, but having her nice guns and good secondaries means you can build into those guns, meaning that you can definitely train your Japanese commanders with the Mutsu without having to spec them into the secondaries. But once you're done grinding through the line and you have your 19-point Japanese commander, you can go back and then grind out a secondary build commander on the Mutsu, and it's quite nice. And the way that the commander rework happened, tier 6 ships actually got a big boost to the accuracy and range of their secondaries, so it's a lot more fun right now at tier 6 than definitely at higher tier with a lot of the secondary ships there. But anyway, on top of that, she does have torpedoes too with a 20-second reload time, but she has 4 single tubes. They're a good laugh when people don't realize that you have torpedoes, because this is quite an old premium ship, and it's always fun to whip them out and just watch as people... You can see the confusion on their turrets too when suddenly a Japanese battleship at tier 6 has torpedoes. And then again, they reload in 20 seconds, so you have a very good chance of getting to use them multiple times in one engagement if the engagement lasts long enough. So if you want more details on the Mutsu, go watch the video I put out last week. I'll link it somewhere around here if you want to go check that out. But it's a very good ship. It's a tier 6 ship too, so it's only, I believe, $30 right now in their premium shop. So not that expensive, and will definitely suit your needs as a commander grinder. And again, just a really fun ship to play, and it's in a really good spot right now matchmaking wise. Alright, next ship, going up to the tier 8, is the tier 8 premium American battleship, the Alabama. Now, the Alabama has been in the game for quite some time, and what's a really cool thing about the Alabama is that you can go and see this ship in real life. The Alabama is a museum ship in Mobile, Alabama. I've been there several times. Fantastic museum ship, one of the best museum ships that I've been on ever, period. You can go over, I think like 98% of the ship is open to the public, and you can walk all over and stuff, and it is just the coolest thing to go around on this ship in real life and then come back in game and play it here. It's awesome. But besides that, which of course, you know, that doesn't make it a awesome premium ship. Well, in my mind it does, but gameplay wise that doesn't make it an awesome premium ship. What is the Alabama? The Alabama is a South Dakota class battleship, which in game we have the North Carolina, and the South Dakota in game is pretty much a more well armored the Alabama in game is pretty much a more well armored North Carolina with less accurate guns. Now, they aren't like Massachusetts inaccurate, they're just not the very nice guns that the North Carolina gets. They're the same caliber and size, but they aren't as accurate, which means Alabama's much more of a mid-range battleship. And the footage you should be watching right now, most of this took place within that sweet zone of about 18 to 12-ish kilometers. Some a little bit closer than that, of course, too. And you can see how well she does perform. She has 9 16-inch guns with that American AP. And the American AP is definitely like a double-edged sword. On one side, you've got that, of course, 16-inch guns that are pretty big for Tier 8 standards, but the muzzle velocity is atrocious, which is a good and bad thing. It means firing at long range with a maximum velocity of 701 meters a second is quite slow on your AP, but that means when you're engaging targets like cruisers, you don't overpin as much because your shells aren't flying near as fast as some other ships at Tier 8. Now, like you should be seeing here too, the guns aren't all that accurate, especially compared to the North Carolina, but they definitely get the job done because when they do hit and pin, they friggin' hurt. So on top of that too, she does have a much better armor layout than the North Carolina. Anyone who's played the North Carolina or shot the North Carolina does know that the North Carolina does tend to eat citadels from almost any angle when she shows her broadside. Doesn't happen here in the Alabama. Her citadel is submerged well below the waterline, so you can show a little bit more skin, get that third turret in battle more often, and won't be punished as hard. Now, am I saying go sit broadside in the Alabama? Absolutely not. You still definitely need to play the ship like an American battleship, showing just your front or your angled side, which also makes this a very good pickup for someone going up the American battleship line, because this ship will definitely be built just like an American battleship and play just like a standard American battleship, and it's great for that too. Now, on top of that, she does have, well, she used to have fantastic AA back in the day. She is still one of the stronger AA ships in the game, but unfortunately she's not what she used to be, where if a CV dare entered your airspace, his planes would just cease to exist. That doesn't happen anymore, unfortunately. Maneuverability wise, she's of course faster than, well, the tier 7 and below, and the chunky American battleship. She has a fantastic turning circle, as you'll see here too. She turns really, really tight, and that's great too, especially when you get in these tight situations. As you can also see right here too, her concealment is also very nice. You get down to 12.7 kilometers, which is great for a tier 8 ship when you're in a tier 10 game, because at that point you can then pick and choose your engagements and leave if you don't like the situation that you are in. So all around, a very solid American battleship, a very tough American battleship too, and one that will go a long way, especially if you're planning on going up the American battleship line. Now, of course, she's a tier 8, so she's a little bit more expensive at, I believe, $48 US right now in the premium shop. Alright, so after the tier 8, what should you get at tier 9? This is going to come as an absolutely massive shock to absolutely no one, and that is the tier 9 German premium battleship, the Pommern. So why the Pommern? Right now, the Pommern's the only really good battleship at tier 9, and most newer players are going to be battleship players. Oh, but before I move on too quickly from tier 8, if when you're watching this, the Lenin's still available, newer players, get the Lenin. Lenin is an absolutely crazy tier 8 Soviet battleship. She is being removed quite soon, but this thing is like nuts. Its AP is absolutely mental. She's got a really good armor scheme if you keep your battle points where the enemy ship, and she's just all around a very good battleship, so pick her up if she's still available right now. That's kind of a general PSA too, of course. Anyway, so the Pommern. So, like I was saying, newer players will probably tend to be battleship players, and the German battleship line, for the most part, is very new player friendly. The armor is very nice at close-in ranges. You can be a little bit more aggressive with the Germans for the most part and get away with it. Now, of course, with HE spam and CVs being what they are nowadays, it is a little bit painful, but it's a little bit painful for all battleships right now. Plus, the Pommern is a free ship. You can save up your coal and get her for 278,000 coal, or a little bit less if you do have the coupon. So this is a potentially free ship. If you don't want to get it for free, it is $77, which is a huge investment in the game. And of course, I'm not saying you actually have to get this ship. I'm saying if you're going to get a tier 9 premium ship, newer players, this one is probably going to be what's best for you. So, what is the Pommern? Pommern is the tier 9 FDG that has been tweaked a little bit. She has 12 15-inch guns instead of the 8 16-inch guns that the FDG has, and she also has torpedoes on top of that, which means for close-in engagements, this ship is absolutely a beast. With the torpedoes, you also get the German secondaries. I forgot to mention that too. German battleships have amazing secondaries. They have a very long range. They have the special German HE pin, which means guns of a smaller caliber can pin more than their counterparts in other nations, which means with the Pommern, if you're at tier 9, every single secondary on this ship can pin just about every ship you're going to see at tier 9. When you get up to tier 10, not so much, but they have a good enough firing range, firing rate, and fire chance that they make up for it there. So, the Pommern is great for brawling, great for being a tank, great for pushing on a flank when it is available to it. Now, of course, it being a German battleship means it doesn't have the best AA, doesn't have the best torpedo protection, but does get hydroacoustic searched, where you can keep an eye on those torpedoes when they show up, and it is an absolute tank in the right situation. The game you're watching right now, I managed to sneak around and go down the middle in Two Brothers, get on the enemy team side, and just be a pain in their side and do a lot of damage before I went down. Unfortunately, the friendly team didn't push when I created this distraction, when I started tearing to the enemy team, so it was a very valiant effort that unfortunately didn't render any fruit, but it does show the tankiness of the Pommern and how good a Pommern can be in the right situation. Now, it doesn't have the best AA, and it is a very big ship, which means that carriers will have your way with you. but this ship is incredibly solid for random battles. It's also incredibly solid for ranked battles or some of these events that they've been putting out recently, where a lot of them are very close range, brawling game modes like we had the brawls a little while ago. Pommern's doing very well in ranked right now from what I've seen, from what I've experienced too. And she's all around a very good ship for that right situation, and she is a blast to play. And again, above all else, she is free. So those are 3 ships that I would recommend newer players get. Now again, to be perfectly clear, I'm not saying you have to buy these ships. I'm saying if you're going to buy premium ships as a newer player, these would be my 3 that I'd recommend to you. So again, I'm not saying you have to buy all 3 of these ships. I'm just saying if you are a newer player and you want to know what premium ships to pick up, these would be the 3 that I would recommend to you. And if you get any one of these premium ships, you really don't need to invest any more money in premium ships, because any 3 of these ships, they will, once you figure them out and get a good hold of them, they will print credits, they will train your commanders, they will make your free XP, and you will have a blast in them. And even if you are willing to spend a little bit of money on the game after you get one of these 3 premium ships, or any premium ships at all, go ahead and just invest that in premium time. That's the next best investment you can get in the game. And again, make sure you grind to the tier before you get a premium ship. Don't buy a tier 9 or a tier 8 premium ship if you're only at tier 5. Trust me, you're doing nothing but hurting yourself and hurting your team at that point. Alright guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And I know I'm a battleship main, so you cruiser, DD, and CV mains, leave your 3 premium ship that you would suggest to newer players in the comments down below. Let's help those guys out. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Thursday. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're on our way now to 25,000 subs. We just passed 24,700 a few days ago, and I cannot thank you guys enough for that. Hope you're all having a wonderful Thursday, and hope to catch you guys in the next one.